Yes, people. Josh Hart, JTH Boxing. We're back. I was meant to be filming an interview tonight, but it's been moved to tomorrow instead, last minute. Um, Before I start and get into what I want to talk about, I just need to basically make a cry for fucking help. Please, if there's anyone out there that knows anyone running a business and running it that like is willing to sponsor someone like me, just trying to push and achieve something, please, 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 can they reach out? Like anyone that wants to sponsor, just hit me up and we can talk. Because right, let me explain. Let me actually explain first. I know it looks like a bit of a beg, so I'm going to explain. Um, I've been given press pass for the Ellis Laro fight on Friday night, and then all the fight week events for KSI. That is huge, and these aren't opportunities that I can just take for granted. I I know I'm not going to be able to get anyone to sponsor me by tomorrow, Thursday, Friday. But just like if there's anyone out there that knows anyone or like is willing to sponsor and willing to help and at least just help me make a bit more money. I'm only 17. It's not hard to get a lot of money. So just anyone out there that can just give me a helping hand, sponsors, whatever, please just do your work. Just just work some sort. If people can just like just share this around. I don't want to make it seem like I'm begging, but I am begging. Um, it's just help fund my travel and stuff and accommodation. Obviously, accommodation's already a struggle because I'm not old enough. Um, but I've got ways around that. Not illegal ways. I've got legal ways about that. It's just funding it and stuff, man. Because going like having college is long enough. Doing this, honestly, I enjoy doing it, and obviously working. I've got my own job at McDonald's, but I can't put in the hours at McDonald's if I want to put in the hours to do this, and I can't put in the hours to do this unless obviously I need to go to college as well. There's so many like things around it. It's just packed. I'm not gonna lie, it's got me stressed out. It's got me stressed out. Um, but yeah, enough said. There's more I want to say, but it'll be me repeating the same things. So I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit stressed. But looking into what I do want to talk about, I want to just talk about the light heavyweight division, and more importantly, Joshua Buatsi again. Obviously, I touched on it a bit in yesterday's video, but I'm going to do a little bit more of an in-depth talk off the top of my head. Right. So let's look at the light heavyweight scene. Buatsi has just beat Stepien on a 10-round points decision in what was a very dull affair. But obviously got himself back to winning ways after what's been a very frustrating 12 months for himself. Now we need to look forward and only look forward. And we're not at a stage of his career where it's getting the rounds in. It's now he wants big fights. More importantly for him, he wants world titles. But if there's not world title shot next, there's a lot of big domestic fights to be made. You've got Lyndon Arthur, Anthony Yard, Dan Aziz, Callum Smith if he's not tied up with Beterbiev. So many things that can get done. Um, so the main three, Aziz, Yard, Lyndon Arthur. Let's look at those three. Lyndon Arthur, he's in need of a big fight. So is Buatsi. I think that'd be a good one to make since they're both in need for a big fight. Sky and Wasserman Boxing have already done a few fair, like, would you say they've co-promoted each other? As with Eubank Jr. and Liam Smith, which obviously been pushed back. Um, so yeah, that one I think they could come to some sort of agreement to make it. I think Lyndon Arthur's a bit neat. Like Lyndon Arthur's bounced back from losing now from his defeat to Anthony Yard. And now for him, I think he's had those like get back fights, get your rounds in. Now he needs the big fights. 21, is it 21 and 1? 22 and 1? Something like it could be even 23. I'm gonna have to beat up box right for this one, pal. Hmm. But yeah, Lyndon Arthur probably wants a big fight. There's a lot of people that are gonna want big fights. So, you know, I was gonna scroll through this fucking schedule, right? Lyndon Arthur. Lyndon Arthur is 22 and 1. 3 fight win streak back to winning ways as we needed. We needed him to get to winning ways, and he has. Um, it's got to be big fights, man. It's got to be whether Lyndon Arthur looks Anthony Yard trilogy. I don't know. It's something being maybe would people be excited for it? I don't know. But if not, Buatsi's there. Um, Obviously I got Anthony Yard. Anthony Yard's obviously just put himself probably top five in the division. BoxRec have got him ranked number eighth in the world. Um, Obviously, with the likes of Dan Aziz. Joe Smith Jr., Better BF, Bivol, Callum Smith, those types of names above him. But let's look domestically. I'm going to get the domestic rankings up now. Obviously, Craig Richards. You can't forget about Craig Richards. Um, Shakan Pitters, he could do with probably getting himself a big fight soon. He's had, he did just come off a defeat to Dan Aziz, and then bounce back beating John McIntyre. Would people be excited to maybe see Shakan Pitters versus Lyndon Arthur? I don't know. Lyndon Arthur needs to get back in the mix, and he is in the mix, but he needs to get in there with a big fight. At the end of the day, there's so many good names domestically that big fights need to be made. Dan Aziz is someone who I think's done everything perfectly. He's won every belt possible. Why not get him really good domestic fight now with an Anthony Yard, a Buatsi? Buatsi's an easier fight to make. It's same promotion. Get it on. Get it made. If they can't get that fight made between Buatsi and Bivol, then give Buatsi at Dan Aziz. Give him that fight. That is a good fight. It's a headline worthy fight. Would we say pay-per-view? Maybe not. But it's a very strong headline fight. And I feel like it's one that they would probably slap on pay-per-view. But yeah, Anthony Yard could take any of them, man. Anthony Yard can fight anyone, really. There's so many people he could fight. You know, Anthony Yard's exciting. He's put himself, despite the fact he lost to Beterbiev, he's put himself in there now. He's established himself in putting on. He did things to Beterbiev that no one's done to Beterbiev before, and shown that he is at that level. He can bang about with the big boys. Give him a Buatsi, give him a Dan Aziz. Mm, Callum Smith, yeah, but Callum Smith's obviously tied up. I'm not really going to talk too much on Callum Smith because he is tied up. Obviously with Top Rank winning the purse bids between him and Beterbiev, that fight's due to be announced soon. Um, Buatsi, Buatsi, man, there's so many things you can do with Buatsi. Um, I really want to see Dan Aziz. If I'm being honest, the one person I really want to see in a big fight is Dan Aziz. Out of all of them, I think Dan Aziz deserves it the most. He's put in the hardship. He's worked his way up. He's done it the old school way. He's won every belt possible. He's fought some really good names as well. Give the man his chance to fight in a big headliner. I think he's a headline name now. I think now that he's picked up that European title, I think he's everything, including a main event fighter. I think he's done everything he needs to do. And again, given Buatsi, I think Anthony Yards if you put any of those not in a main event with Anthony Yards, it could be pay-per-view. Um, Especially if BT get hold of it. If BT get hold of it, I'll definitely put them on pay-per-view. But there's so many good fights to be made, man. There's so many good fights. If we're going to look at some of the prospects coming up, you've obviously got Willie Hutchinson, Cara Tama. They're both fighting this Friday at York Hall. Fingers crossed I'm there to cover it. Fingers fucking crossed. Um, but yeah, Willie Hutchinson, I'm not saying he's in the mix, but he could put himself in the mix. He could easily work his way into the mix. He's a good talker. I've had him on the channel before. He's confident in himself, and I feel like give him another good few fights, another good get a good set of wins under his belt. I feel like he'll really be at that level. Caraditama, obviously, he's got to bounce back. In his last fight, he lost for the first time against Ezekiel Osvaldo Medina. Um, he's obviously fighting Willie Hutchinson on Friday. What are the odds of that? But obviously, again, they're far away from the big four, big five, big six. I'd say looking at box records, the big six with Callum Smith at number one, Dan Aziz number two, Yard three, Boatsy four, Craig Richards five, and Lyndon Arthur sixth. That big six, there's a lot to do. Then you got Shakan Pitters in this middle ground where he's above. Would you say he's above the like? Obviously, Ricky Summers is the English champion now. He's just picked up the English title. Um, would you say Shakan Pitters is at that level? Shakan Pitters is probably above that. I don't know. There's a lot of interesting fights to be made. Um, what fights would the people like to see though? Let me know in the comments. I'm going to try to discuss this later on in the week with more people. I'm trying to get Andy Clark on the call to join me on here. Hopefully Thursday night I'm filming that, so I'll drop that either Thursday evening or Friday. Um, you can get that on. But yeah, that's all I'm going to really say for this video. 'Cause like I said, I'm a bit stressed out. I'm not in. I'm in a good place to talk still, but I don't want to just ramble and repeat myself. If you've enjoyed, like, subscribe, do your thing, and please can we find Josh Hart a sponsor? Just someone to help at least I would like, you know what I need? I just need a sponsor where they can help fund my travels, my accommodation, etc., etc., etc. But yeah, thank you all for watching. If you have, if you've made it this far, that many people have, to be honest. But yeah, this is me done. Adios, people. Catch you tomorrow.